So some of you guys have been on my case about something that I still haven't done in my 4Runner yet, and today we're going to be taking care of that. What I'm talking about is this old original head unit. And I know, I've read the comments, I've heard you guys, we gotta get rid of it. It's 2020, everybody's favorite year. So today we're going to be getting rid of it, and I'm going to take you along for a little bit of an install here. Now, let me just give a disclaimer right off the bat. I am not an electronics guy. I'm not a car audio guy. I don't really care about this stuff that much. I just want this to be updated and be able to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, stuff like that. So please don't expect me to be an expert on this. I'm just going to fumble my way through this and hopefully entertain you guys a little bit. So this video isn't going to be super detailed or in depth on the install, but I am going to have an article on my website. So if you go to CanadianGearhead.com and just do a search for 4Runner audio, the article will come up and it'll be more step-by-step instructions in there. I bought all my stuff on Crutchfield, which is usually a little bit more expensive, but they have everything set up for you, and you basically just tell them your vehicle and what you want to buy, and they figure it all out for you. But if you're an Amazon person, I'm going to go ahead and try and find some of the links for you so you can find the same stuff on Amazon. And hopefully I'll be able to show you all the wiring and all that kind of stuff in that article. So make sure to check that out. This video is more just, you guys are going to hang out with me, and we're going to kind of go through the process of working away on this thing. Now first, there's two things that you're going to want to do before you get started here. Number one, make sure to eject all of your discs out of your original head unit, just because once this thing is unplugged, those suckers ain't coming back out. Number two, I'm not sure if you actually have to do this or not, but I read somewhere online that you're supposed to crank the volume on the original stereo before you unplug everything. I think it has something to do with the factory amp and the loudness of it. Alright, so here's the stuff I'm going to be installing. This is the head unit. This is a Pioneer DMH-2660NEX. And this will give you your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so you can run like Spotify, navigation, stuff like that. No CD or DVD player, which is fine. This isn't 1995 anymore. I don't think I'm going to need that. Then we're going to be using the iDataLink Maestro interface for the steering wheel controls to keep all that functioning just like factory. It's got some other cool stuff too. I'm not sure if this is going to work on the 4Runner or not, but it shows some of the vehicle data from the ECU. Some of like the temperatures and the pressures and stuff like that. So I guess whatever ends up working, that's what's going to work on it. I don't really know what we're in for there. And this is the harness for the Maestro for Toyota vehicles. We're using this. This is just an Amazon e-brake bypass. I don't plan on watching movies or anything while I'm driving. I'm not an idiot, but I want to be able to still access all the functions, all the settings and stuff in the head unit and not have to put the parking brake on. We'll go with that. We've got the Metra dash trim kit. From what I've read, it's good, not great. It's what Crutchfield recommended, so in the cart she went. This, I got this extra. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not, but this is just a USB plug that I think I'm going to flush mount in the gray trim piece on the dash, and I think I might use it. I don't know. We're going to wait and see. Just instead of having a cord sticking out of the glove box or the console or something like that, I think it's a little bit cleaner, but I'm undecided on that right now. As for tools, I'm just assuming, taking a guess here, 10 mil, because, well, you can pretty much build an entire Toyota with that, and probably a Phillips screwdriver. I don't know what else we're going to need. So I just unhooked the negative on the battery, because I'm not a goof. Make sure you do that. Otherwise, don't complain about burnt bulbs and stuff when you fire things back up. So to start with, we're going to be pulling this trim piece off here. We're going to pull this up in order to get this kind of surround part off. And then also, for any of you that watch my older videos and I was asking, what do you keep in here? I figured out what I'm doing. I got gum, I got sanitizer, and we got a little bit of lip shellac. There you have it, folks. That's what I got in there. So I'll break this out while we're here. Oh, and also, probably get rid of the old face diaper here too. Okay, time for a quick update. I'm just working away on getting all these trim pieces out of the way to be able to get the head unit out. Took these guys all off, kind of one step at a time. there's a couple of hidden bolts here, and they have to pull this panel down in order to get at one hidden bolt back in here. And you got to take these two out as well in order to get the gray trim pieces off. So now all that's remaining is we've got a bolt in there and one back in there. Should be able to get this head unit out, and then I guess it's time for my favorite, a little bit of wiring. Ugh. Okay, head unit's out. You just have these two. I'm thinking these are probably for the antenna, radio antenna, and then these three harness clips that pop out, and it pops right out. I took these two bottom bolts out, and it was still stuck in there pretty good, but there must be a couple of clips that it sticks in with, because I just put some stank on her and she popped out. So don't be surprised if yours is still sitting in there pretty firm. Just give her a tug, as long as those two bolts are out. Okay, so we got the old and the new, and one thing before I dive into the wiring is we're going to take these factory brackets off and stick them on here. Should be pretty self-explanatory. 4 bolts, try and get them in the same spot. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll jump into getting the harnesses looked at. So I was wrong, you don't actually have to reuse the factory brackets. They have new plastic ones included with the Metra kit, this whole trim piece here. Alright, so we got the wiring all figured out, at least I hope so. I can't really explain all this to you. What you're supposed to do is go on the iMaestro website, and you got to set up an account, put in all the information for your vehicle and the products that you have, and then it gives you a install guide that you can download, and just follow that. Go with what they say. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, wrap it up a little. Also, just so you know, in case you're freaking out, got a bunch of harnesses that I obviously didn't need to use for this specific install. Okay, so now I'm just going ahead and plugging all the harness into the truck here. These are the 3 main ones that come out, the factory ones, and they plug into the harness here. We've got a couple unused ones. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm following the instructions that I found online that I told you about. This is the OBD2 cable for all like the cool vehicle data stuff that I guess is included. So I ran that down across there. So I guess next up we've got to plug it in and cross our fingers, cross our toes, and hope that something works. One thing though, guys, before you turn the key back on, make sure you plug the harness back into this. Because if you don't, you're going to set off an airbag light, and only the dealer can fix that for you, which you know how that's going to go. Okay, so I got it roughed in here. I just have the bolts on the side holding it in. This doesn't really line up that great, but I think I can pull it up into place, hopefully. We're about to find out how this silver trim piece goes on around it, and we'll find out how well this thing fits. Good news is everything turns on. It seems like everything functions okay. So it's just a matter of putting everything back together now. Alright, so it's actually a couple days later. I ran out of daylight the other night, so I just stopped filming, but I kept on working away, buttoning everything back up here. And I got it all together, and it's all functioning. And I'm really happy with it, by the way. Just driving around a couple of days, it's made such a big difference. It feels like a modern vehicle now. But the downside is I gotta rip it all back apart again, because I'm having some fitment issues. It could be one of two things. I'm not sure if it's the Metra dash kit is just a bad fit, or it could be just the fact that there's so much more wiring harness behind this, not to mention like the actual Maestro module itself goes back there as well. I think it's just kind of pushing things forward and kind of in the wrong direction. And I can't get these clips to really snap all the way in place. So I'm going to pull it all back apart, and I'm going to see if I can kind of reroute the harness back there to get a little bit more clearance. And I think I'm going to try and adjust the trim piece for the dash kit, and hopefully maybe move the screen forward a little bit more to get a little more clearance back there. Hopefully everything lines up a little better then. That's where we're at. I ran the wire for the Bluetooth mic up here. I figured a lot of people put it over here on the A-pillar, but I ran into the center just because number one, if it's a passenger, if you're both talking on the phone or something, it'll pick both voices up. Also, I'm thinking, I don't know, if you're driving with your window down, you might get more wind noise if you have your mic right there. So I figured more in the center of the vehicle is probably a better choice. Other than that, we've got everything figured out. I still want to try and get a USB port drilled into the trim piece there, just to get it a little bit more clean looking, so you don't have a cord hanging out of your dash. Alright, so we got her all figured out now. I've put it back together for the second time. And what I ended up doing here, it was a little bit of both problems. There's actually like a little hole, like a little pocket back in the back part of this hole in the dash where the head unit goes. And I was able to stuff a lot of the wiring harness back in there. And then the module for the steering wheel controls, I jammed it into, there's like kind of a little bit of a gap just below it that you can kind of wedge it in. Luckily it's pretty slim, so it fits in there. So I did that to free up a little bit of space, and then what I also did was I adjusted the set screws on the side of the dash trim, and basically I set it so it was slid all the way forward. And as you can see, it still fits in here nicely. No big gaps or anything, but that was definitely the way to go. But now the big difference is these clips are all in, which was, I had a big gap there before, and everything lined up now. The bolts back in here lined up properly, so everything fits proper now. It just took a lot of finagling, a lot of trial and error. Also, I got my flush mounted USB port in there, which is pretty cool. So having a cable hanging around all the time, you can just seal it up. Anytime you want to plug something in, away you go. The other thing I finished up was I got the Bluetooth mic mounted. I just used some Velcro there, like some kind of, it's like double-sided tape. You get Velcro on each side, just so I can put it where I want to. And I think that's going to hold it. It wiggles around if you flick it, but I mean, it's just like, I don't think the vibrations of the vehicle are going to move it, so I think that's going to be okay. So you can see we have Android Auto on an old 4Runner, which is awesome. So we've got Spotify, we've got Waze, Google Maps, all that stuff. I'm sure you can load other apps on here, and I probably will eventually as I find out what I need. For now, we got music and we got directions. What else you want? Anyways, that pretty much sums it up, guys. Probably not that informational of a video here, and it wasn't really intended to be. I just thought I'd bring you guys along as I stumble my way through this install. But everything works, and I'm pretty pumped about that. It was actually fairly easy to do, so make sure you check out the article on the website if you want more detailed instructions. Or if you buy everything from Crutchfield, they give you pretty good instructions as well. But either way, it's not hard to get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on a 4th Gen 4Runner. Now you know. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.